Hi, everybody. I'm Jeffrey Driscoll.
And I'm Jim Kerr.
Welcome to 15 Minutes of Fame. Well, Jim, the Edmonton Eskimos faced the Toronto Argonauts this week in the CFL East Division semifinal. They started strong-ish, but came up well short in the end.
Oh, well short.
Absolutely.
It hurt not having J.C. Sherritt on defense, and the defense was a touch exposed. Maybe as a result of that, maybe just as a result of coming out and having a bad game. Tough one to have as your bad game if you're the Eskimo defense, because they had a great season.
Yeah.
But the Argonauts put up 31 unanswered points in the second quarter, which is actually a CFL playoff record. Ricky Ray put up big numbers, ran one in himself, awkward white boy celebration and all. And you know what? They outclassed the Eskimos. Edmonton couldn't get anything going. Kerry Joseph, they scored on their first drive, which they hadn't done all season.
Which is great.
But I think they would rather have not scored on that drive and played like they did in some other games this season than to have that first drive touchdown finally.
Oh,
but
totally.
they didn't look good. It was a tough one to watch. It was Edmonton
painful.
sports lately. It just summed it up, man.
Can we finally call this season just over and look at it in the rearview mirror and maybe?
Yeah.
It's been a couple of seasons that we've been talking about this, but this season alone was just ups and downs, great defense, bad offense, but who was the quarterback? Just what an ugly season.
Well, and that's a big question: is who's the quarterback next year? Is Kerry Joseph our starter? I mean, I'm not taking anything away from Kerry Joseph. He was good when he was in, for the most part, but. Is he your guy for the future? Is Stephen Giles your guy for the future? I think not. It's tough. I think you got to go in and you got to find a veteran.
Yeah.
And look at Kevin Glenn in Calgary.
Yeah.
He carried them that whole season. Then they sat him for the playoffs.
Oh, totally.
In favor of Drew Che, which turned out to be a phenomenal idea because he had the late game heroics to send Calgary off to BC. But yeah, the Eskimos have a lot of decisions to make, a lot of free agents too, so they could end up losing some of the guys they'd like to keep. They need a new GM. That's a pretty important position. But I'd like to say goodbye to this season.
Oh my God!
An official 15 Minutes of Fame farewell.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we'll see you next year. But that was tough. I hate when in the big game your team just tanks.
Oh, totally. Totally. We like to see them step up for it and just absolutely brutal.
At least battle. You can battle and lose.
Yeah.
This was just like, oh, no.
It was brutal.
Yeah.
There was a really scary moment in the game, though, too, when Matt Nichols came in. He went down with a pretty gruesome injury all over Twitter. What's the update on him?
Sweet Jesus.
No kidding.
He went down and his foot ended up twisted the wrong way from the rest of his leg, which, I mean, there's people out there that kind of like to watch these gross sports injuries, but that was one of those ones that was like, oh, and people were posting pictures on Twitter and stuff. It was like, I can't not look, but I don't want to. Turns out it was a dislocated ankle.
I would say
something
so.
More serious. Yeah. In my medical opinion,
right.
I would say there's a problem with his ankle, perhaps a dislocation.
Perhaps, some sort of.
But apparently that's not as bad as what could have been. Like the initial thought was like, oh my God, his knee's been ripped off. Like that running back in college football
right.
A month or so ago where you see his leg just.
Oh man, that's not right.
You're feeling your own leg like mine couldn't bend that way. So what? Oh, so that was pretty tough, especially because he came in and they were starting to get a bit of momentum. But that was the sign from above that today was not their day.
Yeah.
Or below.
Let's move on to the National Hockey League now, where they're talking, but it's really tough to say how much progress they're making, Jim.
Well, they met a bunch of times last week. Donald Fear, Gary Bettman, and all the key players. It's hard to characterize the talks because that's a word they like to use a lot. But it sounds like, or it sounded like they both wanted to make some progress and get a deal done. But the main things that have slowed them down are the main things that are still slowing them down. So it's like, I could run a marathon if it wasn't 300 pounds, but I'm 300 pounds. So I can't run a marathon. So they're saying, we're meeting, we're making progress, but we're not there.
No.
But a deal's right around the corner.
That's what they keep saying. Oh,
if
my God, it
we
makes
can
me
figure
mad.
out these three things,
Yeah.
the split of money, well, they've been talking about that since what? September?
Mm-hmm.
Player contract rules since September. And this is a gem. Who pays for the damage caused by the lockout?
Oh, brutal.
Now, how you quantify that is one
that's
thing.
True.
You're both at fault, so you're both paying for it. Like I'm more of a player guy than the league side on this one.
Yeah.
But how are you going to make that one of the things?
Oh, totally.
And guaranteed they think the NHL should pay for all of it. And I'm sorry, at this point, that you can't go that way.
No.
But they're saying the deal's right around the corner if split of money contract rules.
Sure.
Well,
the deal's always been around the corner, Jim.
The deal, the deal's right around the corner if we can come to an agreement.
Oh, well, no kidding. Like
that sounds like politicians speak right there.
It's brutal. It's brutal. I did see one thing that was really interesting, considering we talk about this every single week. I can't remember if it was Steve Fair or Bill Daly, but one of them characterized media reports of negotiations, and it's like there's really only two things you can report: negotiating and done. In the middle, it's like, how do you characterize the talks? You know what I mean? Like, it's brutal. Absolutely brutal.
And enough of these secret locations.
Oh, that's hilarious.
It makes me think that, like, okay, I was watching the NFL last week, and Roger Goodell was in the crowd, right? And they kept flashing to that part of the crowd that he was at, and he's being mobbed. Yeah. Like, everyone's trying to get a picture, and like, oh my God, it's Roger Goodell. Ah. And I don't even think fans like him that much.
That's right.
But whenever you see Gary Bettman at a hockey game, he's just sitting there, and no one's looking at him. And it's like, so this secret location stuff makes me feel like he's like, oh yeah, just in case, all these people gather. And man,
come on now.
Especially at this point, no one gives a crap.
No kidding.
Just want you to finish it, but you're not going to, because the things you say that are right around the corner are the most impossible parts of this whole thing.
That's exactly it. Well, Jim, let's talk a little UFC now, where the whole women's division might actually start to become a reality here.
Yeah, let's talk UFC now that we're all riled up.
Well, exactly.
Reports say Ronda Rousey is about to become the UFC's 135-pound champion, with 3 fighters coming in for maybe her first matchup. Kind of weird, though, just to give her the belt, I think, even though she's the boss and she's just armbarring people.
Yeah, she's pretty killer.
Center. But, I mean, is that normal? Just make her the champion, then bring in a challenger?
I think so. Okay, maybe they probably should
not
have
at all,
some sort
man.
of title fight to begin with.
They should just bring in the 2 best fighters and have them fight for the title.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They're, like, her first fight in the UFC will be a title defense.
That's right.
I mean, I'm no mathematician, but I think something's missing there.
That's right. She is. You're like you said though. Like you characterized it. She is pretty boss. Like she's absolutely unbelievable.
Armbarring like to the end of time.
And done.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And with George St. Pierre's next fight coming up, there's talk of a big year in 2013 for the UFC.
Okay, when I read this, I was pumped.
Yeah.
Reporter Dave Meltzer, who's all over the wrestling and mixed martial arts genre,
he's really good.
Says Anderson Silva will be there when GSP fights Carlos Condit. If GSP beats Condit, there'll be like a call-out confrontation thing set up to set up GSP Silva. If Silva wins, he'll fight John Jones, provided John Jones beats Chael Sonnen.
Which he will.
Yeah, and I guess if that doesn't happen, they'll probably just... No, I don't think they would do Silva Sonnen again.
No, probably
But
not.
if GSP beats Silva, which part of me really wants that to happen.
Yeah.
Part of me wants it to be a scoreless draw. I don't want anyone to lose that fight.
That's fair. That's fair.
But if GSP beats Silva and Jones beats Sonnen, then they're thinking of putting John Jones up against the heavyweight champion. Ooh. Now, I had heard earlier in the week that Jones was planning on moving to heavyweight in a couple of years.
Yeah.
So I'm a little skeptical about that part of it. But take that, boxing.
Oh, man.
Like,
could you imagine?
Boxing can get the one.
Yeah.
But that's because it's run by promoters, I guess.
That's right.
Whereas the UFC is setting up these fights themselves. But, man, GSP Condit followed by GSP Silva followed by Silva Jones or Jones and the heavyweight champ.
Oh, man. Could you imagine?
A hell of a year for the UFC. And I think they're doing it, or I think the thinking is anyways, that they're looking at some of these mega fights because 2013 or 2012 was a bit of a disappointing year for them, pay-per-view wise. It was obviously the canceled event and everything. Still some good fights and still some good cards, but 2013 could be the year of the dream fight. Absolutely. And that would be awesome.
No, that's fantastic. I can't wait to see that. I think I'm going to go watch the GSP fight this Saturday. I'm looking forward to it. So I might tweet it on our 15 Minutes YEG Twitter handle. So take a look for it, guys. Let's move on to the GABBYs now, folks. These are the good and bad by you. Let's give a good to Andrew Luck, who's taken the NFL by storm lately. He set the rookie record for passing yards in the game with 433 a couple of weeks ago, and he's been just crushing. He's also now the second rookie QB in league history with 4 300-yard games. You got to talk a little bit about his receivers as well, but seriously, this guy is just chucking them. Yeah,
and he's actually featured in the GABBYs a whole bunch of times this year so far. But the only other rookie quarterback in league history with those 4 300-yard games, Mr. Peyton Manning.
Oh, interesting.
So there you go. All the talk was RG3.
Yeah.
And all the talk was that in the long run, Luck would be the better quarterback. First week, I was like, oh my God, there's no way.
Yeah.
But if you look at this point in the season, hey, there's something to that.
Unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. A good this week, sir.
Here we go.
To Glasgow Celtic,
yes,
who beat Barcelona 2-1 in Champions League group stage action on Wednesday, much to my enjoyment.
Yes.
It was a day after the club's 125th anniversary. Victor Wanyama and 18-year-old Tony Watt scored for Celtic against arguably the best team in the world. That mends the heartbreak that ensued after the last time they met, where Celtic fought very hard and gave up a goal in the 4th minute of injury time to lose. But, oh, man, you should it's so hard to work on those days when you're at work. Like, how'd you... When they scored, I managed to not yell this time, though. Last time, I scared the crap out of everybody around me because I just arms in the air. This time, it was just arms in the air and bit my lip.
Amazing game, absolutely amazing game. The fans were out of this world. The whole soccer world came up at the same time. Even my mostly hockey Twitter feed went insane. It was fantastic. Everybody it was absolutely great. That second goal, though, when they sealed it.
Oh, yeah, man.
Stunning, right? Just stunning.
18-year-old.
Oh, absolutely amazing. And it was really nice for me, too, Jim, because I learned that these two teams are soccer teams.
There you go.
Yeah.
The more you know.
The more you know, absolutely. Well, that was fantastic. Well, I'm not sure if this is a good or a bad, but the Chicago Bulls have a promotion where fans get a free Big Mac if the team scores 100 points in a home win.
Obesity epidemic.
Joakim Noah was well aware of that when he tried his 5th career 3-point attempt with less than 4 seconds to go in a 99-93 win over Orlando. Here it is in his own words. Not only did I take the shot and miss the shot, we didn't even get the Big Macs. Next time I won't take that 3-pointer. Classic. Love it.
Like he literally tried a 3-pointer so that people could get a free Big Mac.
Yes.
Is he a hero or is he something else?
I think he's an absolute hero. That's
it's
fantastic.
Tough to say.
Yes, obesity, but hey, free food.
I mean, if it was free McChicken, I would be like, hey,
there it is.
The guy was trying to win the game for his team.
That's right. You do like that McChicken.
I'd even settle for a junior chicken. A bad this week to fans of Paris Saint-Germaine and Dinamo Zagreb. 28 people were arrested after a brawl in central Paris between fans of the two, of course, soccer teams. Ahead of a Champions League meeting on Tuesday, the Croatian fans weren't allowed to buy tickets for the game, and about 100 PSG supporters were turned back from the Croatian border ahead of the last meeting in October. So some bad blood there. PSG ended up winning the game 4-0.
Could you imagine if Edmonton Oiler fans were not allowed to go into Calgary?
Oh, man.
To go to Calgary games? Could you imagine that?
Yeah, and then the next time they met in Churchill Square, we're out there just rumbling with these Flames fans.
Oh, man. Fantastic. I love it.
Rubber bullets and hoses and stuff.
That's why we love soccer on 58 Minutes
of
Fame.
Passion.
For that exact reason. Oh, man. Love it. Let's give a bad this week to Millwall Football Club in England. They banned a 13-year-old supporter after he admitted to racially abusing a Bolton player in October. Millwall decided not to issue a lifetime ban. That's good. He's 13 years old. Only for the foreseeable future, and offered him a place on the Millwall for All educational program.
I'm
That's
trying
the
to
right
think
way
of the
handle
swear
it.
words I knew at 13.
Yeah, that's right.
Damn you!
That's right.
You suck.
You suck.
That's pretty much as
That's it.
vicious
That was
as I had.
yeah.
I don't know. This one's a bad, but it's really also a good.
That's right.
Because it's going to be bad if you still follow me.
Right.
Anderson Silva is going to be in a Steven Seagal movie, a police drama. It's going to be so bad that it's going to be so awesome.
It's going to be so awesome. I cannot
Anderson
believe
Silva is going to be the new Jackie Chan.
Oh, totally. I can't believe Steven Seagal is that involved in UFC. Like, he's in with all the camps and stuff like that, and comes to all the fights with his yellow glasses on.
He was in Silva. Apparently, he taught Silva the front kick.
Oh, totally.
He said.
That's what he said. Like,
Silva knocked fools out with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's just hilarious. That's all.
So this is him returning the favor.
The punchline this week is the Washington Wizards, Jim.
Jeff, they recently had a company think up a ticket promotion for them, a bar tour,
Right.
where $25 gets you a ticket and $2 Budweiser products, which sounds pretty good to me.
Oh, yeah.
For the promotion, though, they picked the only Wizard who isn't 21, rookie Bradley Beal, who's 19, I think.
Yeah.
They've since pulled the ad, obviously, but seriously, $2 beers?
$2 beers, man. All right.
$2 American, too. That's like $1.90 beers.
That's right. That's fantastic.
I'm out of here.
Yeah, done. I know where we're going for lunch.
But you pick the one guy on the entire roster who isn't 21.
That's fantastic. I like that. I think there's a problem with that. Yeah, I don't think you can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, folks, that's our 15 minutes of fame up for this week. Join us again when we get a whole new 15 minutes of fame next week. In the meantime, I'm Junior McChicken. Right?
And I've got nothing to say. Jim Kerr, I guess.
Have a good week, folks. See, you said...